Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Ezra from Legion, and you are watching CMS TV.
Brand new Dokken from the latest release, Lightning Strikes Again, Chris, and that's probably my favorite tune on the CD. That's Point of No Return. You got a favorite on that disc yet there, Chris?
Well, first, I'm stunned that that's your favorite. I would have swore Sunset Superstar was your favorite tune, but as far as me, I'm digging the whole thing start to finish. The one I've played the most is probably Standing on the Outside.
Excellent. Well, as you know, Chris, our good friend Don is ready to go out there on the road, and he's always a welcome guest here on the Classic Metal Show. So welcome back to the Classic Metal Show, Don.
Hi, Chris. Hi, Wendell.
Hey.
How you doing?
Excellent. Well, Chris and I were just commenting off air with you, Don. You sound like the Don Dokken of 20 or 25 years ago.
Yeah, my voice has gone through a lot of changes, and it's great. It's not husky anymore, and I guess it's, I miss my Jack Daniels, but no drinking, no smoking, and had surgery, on my nose because I had all these nose problems, and for a decade, finally got it taken care of, and all of a sudden my voice came back. I thought, wow, great.
Well,
I didn't know that was the problem. I just figured it was just old age kicking in.
Sure. Well, you're sounding great, and I'm really excited about seeing you out on the road this summer, being that you're doing the full-blown tour with Poison and maybe doing some off-date shows, and you're taking good care of yourself, and it's going to be a rigorous thing for you, so you're preparing now.
Yeah, I can't be out there drinking and smoking and sleeping and just not taking care of myself. I can't get away with it anymore. I'm not 25. Mentally I am, but physically I'm not. So. And you got two good front men out there. You got Sebastian and you got Brett, and so I gotta be game on because I'm the old guy.
I hear you,
figure
Don.
Ronnie Dio's 68, and he's still doing it, and he sounds great, and I can be doing it in my 50s.
Sure. Well, Don, obviously, man, the new album, Lightning Strikes Again, it's exactly as you've been promising for 2 years. I don't want to say it's a throwback because that's a misconception of what it is, but it really captures what was the essence of classic Dokken, as well as incorporating some of your more modern writing styles. Did it come out exactly as you had planned?
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm happy with like 99% of it. There's no such thing as a perfect record. I go back and change this or change that, but it was a long process, to do that. It's like asking Paul McCartney to write Yesterday again. You're spiritually different. You see the world different. You're older. You don't feel the same way emotionally. So for me to try to do a classic-sounding Dokken record, as people said they wanted, it was a hard road. It was almost 3 years to write that damn thing.
Sure.
Hard to go back,
Right.
I'm sure Robert Plant would like to write something off the Physical Graffiti. You change. So, but John pushed me. He's like, he grew up in high school listening to Dokken, and now he's a guitar player in Dokken, and he just wrote riffs that he thought sounded like Dokken, and so I wrote lyrics appropriately.
Now, Don, you mentioned John, and obviously, there's no real question that the comparisons started the minute you started putting samples of the record online, as far as comparing John's sound right now to some of the classic Lynch stuff. We've talked to John, and he says that he didn't necessarily try to sound like George, but I'm curious from your perspective, one, do you think he sounds sort of like the classic sound that George did, and two, did you try and push him that direction in any way, shape, or form?
No, I didn't push him that way. I think that, people grow up, with guitar players they like, and they copy them. You look at John Norum, he sounds a lot like Michael Schenker. That's his favorite guitar player. And Lynch was John's favorite guitar player, so he sounds a lot like Lynch. It's a compliment to George, but he's not trying to be George, he's John. But, when Reb was in the band, Reb Beach, he didn't grow up listening to Lynch. That wasn't his favorite guitar player. He was into more like Paul Gilbert, stuff like that. And you listen to Reb, he's got a lot of that style in him. We're all influenced by what we like. So that's what John's favorite guitar player was, and so there's a lot of influence in his playing. I mean, some people think it is George playing, but I didn't give John any guidance on the solos. I left him to his own devices. I wasn't there. I just said, you do the solos, you're on your own. I'm not going to point you in any direction. I wasn't even there. He did them at his house on a Pro Tools rig with an engineer, and he just blew out the solos, and I said, okay, that's your baby. I wasn't even there.
Excellent, Don. Well, you were saying, when writing the songs, obviously you're in a different place now than you were 25 years ago. And I guess my question would be, is it so much the lyrical content of the music that matters so much, or as much as it is the style of Dokken, a lot of the guitar solos that John laid down and whatnot? Because you could almost go back to, say, take like Hell to Pay, use the same lyrics in the same song, but approach the music in a more Dokken-esque style. Do you think that would work?
Yeah, I could have. It's just, I wasn't, most of these newer songs are, on the new album are more of the stuff I used to write, which is more angst about love, failed relationships, a couple political songs. I was writing more darker on Long Way Home. Hell to Pay, the lyrics were darker. But I don't know. The lyrics and the melodies dictated themselves because of the way the music was going. It was just I just try to go retro. I don't really know how to, it's really hard for me to say what this record's about. I just try to keep it, like John said, look, Dokken's Cheerios. People like their Cheerios. They don't want Cheerios with salsa flavoring. And that's maybe what we did on some of the albums,
Sure.
I was trying to grow and change, and it was a different time in the 60s and 70s. The Beatles did Help and ended up with Sgt. Pepper. Radically different styles. You look at Zeppelin's first album as opposed to House of the Holy. Radically different styles. They were growing and changing and experimenting, and that's what I wanted to do.
Right.
And it seems like back in those days, the fans kind of grew up with you. They embraced Revolver from the Beatles, and it wasn't Meet the Beatles. They weren't writing I Want to Hold Your Hand. They ended up with Strawberry Fields Forever. Totally different, But when I did that, it seems like the fans kind of like rebelled against it.
Right.
They wanted to hear a song with a catchy chorus like Just Got Lucky or It's Not Love. Hence, I wrote Stand on the Outside and Heart of Stone.
Right.
Very similar to those two songs.
Sure.
And that's what I did. So I said, okay. John made me a CD of all his favorite Dokken songs, and he said, just put this in your car and just listen to Dokken for 2 weeks. And I said, that's really interesting. I never listened to Dokken. I don't listen to my own music. I never, ever, didn't even have a CD. Didn't own a Dokken CD, and that's the truth.
Except for when I gave you the whole catalog.
Right. And you gave me the whole catalog, and I started listening to that stuff, and I was going, oh, I remember that song. Oh, I remember that song. As an artist, I don't think Monet or Van Gogh or any of those guys, when they make a painting, they don't sit there and stare at their painting every day. They paint it, and they're done. They move on to the next canvas. And that's what I was trying to do, move on to the next canvas. And that's what, I'm an artist, And,
sure.
But at some point, you can be the starving artist and be true to yourself, but you can try to, stand on the fence in the middle and say, but this is a living, this is a business, and the fans are the ones that keep the bands going. And if you don't give them what they want, they stop buying your records.
Right.
I kind of got that revelation listening to the Scorpions albums from like 4 or 5 years ago. Scorpions are one of my favorite bands, and they put out a couple of records, and I didn't like them. I was like, no, I want to hear, Blackout.
Or Rock You Like a Hurricane or something like that.
Yeah, I wanted something more signature Scorpions, and they weren't doing that for a couple albums. They were bringing in outside writers and different people, and it didn't sound like Scorpions to me. And their last album they did was more back to their, classic sound and their roots. So I'm guilty as a fan, too. When I buy a Van Halen album, I wouldn't want it to sound like Metallica, because that's not what I'm buying. I'm buying Raisin Bran, but that's Van Halen and Dokken's Cheerios, and So I took the salt out of the Cheerios.
Right. Well, Don, the big news of late in the camp is that as you're getting ready for this tour, Wild Mick has decided not to run with you this summer. What's going on there, and who's going to be playing drums for Dokken?
He's pretty bummed, but Mick, we haven't toured in a long time, and Mick's been going out with Nugent during the summers.
Hey, you. Why are you watching this with commercials? Go commercial-free and unlock exclusive content. Become a VIP today on Locals, Substack, or Rumble Premium. Stop waiting.
To keep busy, he gets bored sitting home alone. As opposed to me, I love staying home and doing nothing. I like being home and nesting and hanging out with my dog and my family and riding my motorcycle and writing, but Mick was trying to keep busy, and then he was ready to do this tour, but we didn't have the Poison tour as of 6 weeks ago. So Mick didn't want to stay home for another summer, so he signed up with Nugent like 1 week before we got the Poison tour, and I went, oh crap, he already signed the contract. So Mick's still in the band, Mick says, I'm Dokken forever, I just can't do this run. He'll be back in September when we go out and do the rest of the tour. After Poison, we're going to go out and headline like House of Blues and stuff like that in theaters, and Mick will be back. So we had to get someone to stand in for him for this tour.
Right. Well, what's the status with Barry now, Don?
I wish I knew. I don't know where Barry is. Barry was in Japan doing the bees. He's not living in America anymore. He moved to Italy because he got married, and he moved to some little town in Italy with his wife. And because she can't come into the country, which is hilarious because she's Italian, doesn't have a green card. I told her it's too bad he didn't marry a Mexican person. He didn't have the border. But it's so funny about immigration here. They're all protesting in L.A. and saying we have rights. We have rights. We committed a felony and snuck over the border. We have rights. You don't see Italians, Norwegians, Japanese, Chinese, Koreans, Italians, Germans. You don't see those people bitching about we have rights to be an American. But I'm really upset about it because I live in California and I see what's going on.
Right.
So here his wife, he's married to her, and she can't even come into the country to visit.
Nice.
So it's kind of pathetic. So Barry loves her, and good for him. And so he's like, well, if you can't come to me, I'll come to you. So he went to Italy and decided until she can come in the country, he's just going to do gigs and play with artists that are not in America. So he's been in Japan making buku dinero with the Bees. They're a stadium act. They're like the biggest band in Japan. And he's making, God knows, probably making $50,000, $60,000 a month with that band. They play stadiums. And so he went to Japan. He's living there right now. And same thing. He's like, I want to do the tour, but I can't do anything until I'm done with this Bees tour. And so just the timing sucked,
Sure.
So what am I going to do?
Right.
So in September, it'll be a different story. Right now, he's trying to get his wife a green card, and Mick's got to finish up the Nugent tour.
Right. Well, cool, Don. Well, you got a lot of rabid fans out there, as you know. I try to understand things looking through your eyes. I mean, you and I have hung out many, many times on. I've been out on the road with you for a lot of times, and you got a lot of cool fans, and then you got a lot of rabid fans that just want to suck the energy right out of you if they get a hold of you.
If they get a hold of me. Yeah, I don't get that whole thing. I love to talk to people and say hi and how you doing. And you're kind of damn if you do and damn if you don't. I'm out there signing autographs, and if I don't give somebody, 20 minutes of their life story, because I'm busy talking to other people, they get upset with you. And they wear me out.
Sure. Well,
I have 5 hours after a show to talk to every single person, and I don't. A lot of people don't do that at all. I don't think that Bon Jovi would go out and meet his fans and stand there for 2 hours.
Right.
I try to, but when I go out there and I go, holy crap, there's 250 people standing here, I'm like, yeah. So you just have to say hi, how you doing, and move on. And the rabid fans get, show up with 16 album covers for you to sign, and you can't do it, and they get upset with you, and that's why I get bummed. I wish I could, but I can't.
Well, you were very cool about hanging out and signing your solo disc, Solitary, when you were out there with Queensryche back in the late winter, and did a CD signing, and it's the shows that I was at, it seemed like people were pretty cool with you and didn't.
Yeah, they were great, and I had a bottle of Jack to keep me mellow so I could deal with it.
Well, we intercepted a phone call from a girl who missed your CD signing up in San Francisco, and I thought I'd play it for you.
Oh, okay.
This message is for Don Dokken. This is Tammy. My number's no weirdness. Now, I've left many messages. I really wish you would call me because I think that I missed you at the Queensryche show in SF at the Fillmore in February. I believe you might have been doing a CD signing after the show, and I had to leave before the show was over. I really wanted to meet you. If you called me on the phone, that would really be cool because that would make up for, like, not meeting you that night. And I want you to know that I'm probably one of the very few people that really give a damn about your music. Like, such as your 1990 CD, Crash and Burn. I love that song. And the 95 Dysfunctional CD that, you know, that most people aren't even familiar with. I love all that you do, and I feel your pain in your music, and I know you're going through a lot of changes now, as we all are. And I love you, Don, and I just wish you would feel me on this, because I really, you know, I buy all your T-shirts, you know, the Dokken T-shirts, and you know, I buy your CDs.
Enough, I get it.
And I wish...
I get it. All right, I get it. He needs rehab. God bless. Yeah, I'm the only one that gives a damn. I'm running dysfunctional. Yeah, tell it to the 400,000 people that bought it.
Yeah, I think it went 600,000, Don. I'm pretty sure about that.
Yeah, 600,000 for dysfunctional, and she's saying that she's the only fan left. That's amazing.
But
okay,
Don, did you want her phone number?
Don't this interview.
But I got to tell you, Don, it's got to be gratifying. I was checking some of the CD music sites like Amazon and CD Universe and so on and so forth, and that's like one of the top-ranked CDs out there for pre-sale.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. We've sold. Amazon usually takes like 1,000 copies, 2,000, and they ordered like 8,000 copies, and because they don't have any returns. And we got 5 stars on iTunes. They're pretty hard on iTunes. You know, they don't give good reviews. You know, they give you 2 and 3 unless you're Radiohead. So we got 5 stars, 4.5. I'm like, well, I'm glad people. Obviously, everybody likes what we did with this record. I think it's going to be a slow burner. You know, can you sell a million records anymore unless you're Bon Jovi? No. And I think this album will just sell and sell and sell, you know, by word of mouth. I mean, everybody knows, maybe the fans don't know, but anybody in the business like radio or bands knows the record industry is in the toilet. You can't sell records anymore. There's no place to sell them. Walmart, Kmart, Target, you know, all the places now. Best Buy have all decided not to carry any catalog, and they're only going to take new artists, new releases, and only take 5 to 10 copies at a time.
Right.
So where do you sell? On the internet only.
Sure. Well,
choices: download or free.
Yeah. Well, speaking of radio, you and I have had this conversation many times. Is Rhino marketing this CD toward commercial radio at all, or are they more or less going toward the internet or satellite radio? Are they spending the promotional money toward internet radio and satellite, or are they still trying to break that FM commercial radio market?
They're doing both. I mean, they went out for ads last week and to straight up radio. And Wednesday, the day of the release, next week, when it hits the stores, I'm doing like 5 to 6 hours of morning talk shows on all the radio shows, from internet to regular straight up, clear channel. Doing it, I'm doing like 50 or something radio, interviews like in a day and a half. So they're going for. I mean, I'd say Rhino's done more promotion than Sanctuary did for us in 8 years. I mean, Sanctuary, we couldn't get them to do anything for us. They just put the record out, throw it out in the stores, and say good luck. And that's what's frustrating. You bust your balls on a record. I think that's why a lot of bands said screw it. Let's just throw a record together and let's just get out there and tour. And I can't do that. I don't want to write just one good song and that song charts. People buy the record and the other 9 are filler tracks. And there's a lot of bands doing that. I listen to the records and I go, okay, you got the one strong song and the rest is kind of I don't want to do that. I mean, and then they can't bitch why people only download that one song. I tried, obviously you can't succeed all the time, but I was hoping to come up with like an Unlock and Key, which I feel every song on that record is good start to finish.
I would agree.
That's a long time.
I would agree.
I mean, you can just drop the needle on that puppy and listen to it all the way to the end, and all the songs are cool. There's no dogs on that record, and obviously everybody wants to do that, but I'm sorry, there's a lot of bands out right now, and you hear them on the radio or MTV or whatever, and they got a hit away, and so I listen to the whole record and I go, well, that's a good song. What about the other 9 songs? They're all horrible. Sure. It's a bummer, and you wonder why people don't buy CDs anymore. They just buy that one song.
Right. Well, Don. In addition to Lightning Strikes Again, obviously you put out your own solo record, which was as far away from anything that people ever expected from Dokken as it could be. Were you surprised at how well it did, and at the basically positive response that you got from it? Because it really seemed like it was reviewed very well.
Yeah, I was really surprised. It's not even on a major label. I just put it out myself, and I just sell it on the internet and sold it to Queensryche. And I think I took like 1,000 copies with me on Queensryche, and I sold out in 2 weeks. I ran out of CDs. I didn't, and I thought, well, people are buying it. I hope they're not thinking it's like Up from the Ashes. It's not. It's a ballad album, but I had people coming to multiple Queensryche shows and saying, well, I bought 1 CD, and now I need 3 more because all my friends want one. And yeah, it's a departure. It was a new age, kind of adult contemporary, have a glass of wine and chill at night with your old lady kind of record, and people seem to like it. And I'm proud of that record. I love my solo album. I think Solitary rocks. It doesn't rock. It doesn't rock. It kind of lulls. It's a very melancholy record. I understand that. But then again, if you listen to Robert Plant's with his Alison Krauss thing, my album sounds like rock compared to that. It's really mellow.
Well, I know you held a few tracks back there, Don, because you were trying to shop it to somebody, be it a Wyndham Hill or a Starbucks or anything like that in the works?
Yeah, it looks like we'll probably end up on Starbucks. I mean, they got more coffee shops than there are record stores in the world.
Sure.
So, and they want it, they like it, and so if Starbucks wants it, great, because you get paid more money. I mean, record companies give it in advance, and they give you something like ridiculous, 75 cents a CD, and they make 10. And Starbucks is what they call joint venturing. For every dollar they make, you make $1.
Right.
So you sell 20,000 copies, you made a lot of money.
Sure, absolutely. Well, a lot of good things going on for you, Don. I'm proud of you, and I'm happy that you got 2 great CDs, your solo record, and, of course, this Lightning Strikes Again, which is going to be here in the American market on Tuesday. And, you got your big tour coming up and doing a lot of great things. So, man,
busy summer. Last couple of years, been a lot of downtime. And like I said, I wanted to change the title of this album to Chinese Democracy, but I think that
very
because
nice.
the goddamn album took so frickin' long, And I mean, it was really hard going on tour, come back, work on the record, and I'd always go, where were we?
Right.
Because I was wearing a lot of hats. I was the writer, the producer, the manager, the accountant. It was all on my shoulders. And I'd come off the road, burned out. As you know, I had a lot of problems in the last year with my voice. I lost my voice in the Queensryche tour, and that was an easy gig, just playing acoustic. But the European tour, doing 9, 10, 11 shows in a row, no days off, it just kicked my ass.
Right.
And I've been struggling with my voice for a couple of years, and I finally went to specialists, and they said, you got sinus disease. And that's why you're coughing up all this crap all the time, your vocal cords are inflamed. And I went, oh. Why didn't somebody tell me that 10 years ago?
Right.
So they took CAT scans, and I had surgery, and it's one of those stuffy today. I still got all this stuff packed into my nose, but my voice is back. It sounds great. We did a test in Vegas a month ago.
Right.
And even after I had the very first surgery, and the guy, John and Mick go, dude, your voice sounds like it did in the Monsters tour. I go, yeah, it's really weird. I got all my treble back.
Yeah, well, you sound great, Don. I mean, just talking to you, I can tell a huge difference. So,
well, it's also because I'm not on drugs. I mean, I told John, I said, God, this might be the first tour I remember in the last, I've been pretty out of it, a long time between drinking, which is one thing. I love drinking, but you can't be drinking and be fucked up on opiates and mix it all together, and then you can't sleep, and then you take sleeping pills to go to sleep, and then you snore, and then, it's a slippery slope.
Right.
And I had to the Queensryche tour was kind of a revelation for me, because I realized I was struggling on that tour just to do a 40-minute set, sitting down, playing acoustic guitar, and I was struggling. And when the guys in Queensryche go, "Are you all right?" I said, "Yeah, why?" "I don't know, you seem kind of out of it." They call me Donnie Darko.
Oh, nice.
Because I was taking too many painkillers. I was taking pain medications and drinking a lot, and I was just hungover all the time or stoned. Because I don't know it just kind of happened,
Right.
And I just came home and I said, I can't go on tour with poison like this. Shit's got to change. So trying to clean up my act,
Well, good, Don. Well, I'm glad, and again, I feel very fortunate to call you a friend, and the fact that you'll come on the Classic Metal Show and talk to us, and just be cool like that.
Well, anytime, I always like to call and get the dirt on George.
Well, speaking of that, and rumors running rampant, what's going on with this proposed Dokken reunion for next year? Anything you can comment there, if anything at all?
I don't know anything about it. I've heard about it. George was talking about it, and I never knew anything about it. George and I have never spoken about a reunion tour. On the phone, nothing.
Right.
George was talking about it. His managers called my manager, said, "Do you want to do it?" I said, "I consider it. If the money was right." Even John was saying, for $1 million, go out and do it.
Sure.
And I said, I told you, George, give me $1 million and I'll do it. That's cheap.
Right.
That's $50 a show. That's not much for 50 shows.
Right.
And it would have to be done like maybe a lot of bands, unfortunately, have to do. You look at Motley's and the Poisons. There's a lot of bands out there that have separate tour buses because they can be a band, but they can't hang with each other because their personalities are too radically different. So I wish I would have thought of that in '88.
Right.
When the band broke up, I should have said, well, wait a minute, let's just get separate tour buses, and Mick and I can go on one bus, and George and Jeff on the other, and we could continue on. But that didn't seem to... I didn't think of it. I just thought, I can't go on a bus with George again.
Right.
It wasn't even George. It was Mick, too, and Jeff. Those guys, they're pretty open about it. Those guys were pretty out there on coke. They're just coke out of their minds. It's no secret, And if I was doing coke with them, then we probably all would have got along. But I was kind of like the dry drunk, I didn't do coke. I've never done coke. I don't get it. And I was the odd man out.
Sure.
So I should have just jumped in and got the baggie and stuck my face in it. We probably would have continued.
Oh boy!
And I'd be dead now. So.
Right.
And Jeff was really bad. I mean, he was what they call a binger. Mick was always a chipper. Mick could do a line and then do another line, and then he'd talk for an hour and they'd do another line. Jeff was one of those kind of guys that if he saw an ounce, he wouldn't go to sleep till it was gone. Might take him 3 or 4 days to get through it, but he'd get through it.
Right.
That and a case of wine, and that's just the way it was in those days. Everybody was whacked.
Wow.
And I was the other way. I'm stressed out seeing my band crash and burn, so I'm popping, Valium to, not deal with all these problems.
Right. So,
but the whole thing with the reunion, I don't know if it makes any sense, Can George play like he used to? I don't know. He'd have to prove that to me first.
Right.
He'll always be known as a great guitar player. His last 4 or 5 recordings and endeavors, I don't get. I think he's maybe still experimenting or trying to reinvent himself. I think if George just would be George, he'd come up with a really awesome album.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't want to hear this, smoke this kind of stuff.
Oh boy!
It's kind of silly to see a guy 50 years old wearing, skateboard shorts and toe heads on stage. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Right.
What'd you pay for those flip-flops anyway? I wouldn't want to go see anybody. Would you want to see Steven Tyler up there in a pair of shorts and flip-flops? I don't think so.
Right.
So I didn't get that whole thing he was going for. With a bunch of young 19, 20-year-old kids backing him up. It's just kind of silly.
Right.
He stuck with the Dokken attachment for the rest of his life. If the money was right, I guess we'd do it. The tour, it's not about the money. It has to be the right tour.
Right, sure.
That tour, we'd have to go out like a Judas Priest, AC/DC, Aerosmith, the Van Halen, any of those bands, because we can hold our own with the heavier bands because we have a heavy side to us.
Right.
I mean, we're heavy for Poison, they're more of a pop band. We toured with Bon Jovi, 8, 9, 10 years ago, and we got our ass kicked.
Right.
Because we came out there doing the Kiss of Death, and these Bon Jovi fans are just looking at us going what the hell? I want to hear Living on a Prayer.
Right.
And that's not our style.
Sure.
So we had our pop songs, like Just Got Lucky and It's Not Love, but we had our heavy metal edge. So when you're doing Paris is Burning, and all these little girls are there to hear John Bon Jovi sing Runaway, they didn't get us.
What's the most painful way to die? Shotgun blast? Speeding bus? Drowning? But for many, burning alive is the most unimaginable fate. In 1994, Chris survived an industrial accident that left him with burns over 69% of his body. Just living defied all odds. In Call Me Chris, Chris Aiken shares his harrowing journey of survival, recovery, and the brutal honesty of facing life after the flames. It's raw, real, and a testament to human resilience. Get your copy of Call Me Chris today at chrisaiken.net or on Amazon. Witness the power of determination.
Well,
we need the right tour.
Right. Well, you're back with a great new disc at Lightning Strikes Again. It's in the U.S. market on Tuesday, and
finally,
yeah, and it's got 12 great songs on it, 13 if you get the import. And
yeah, it's funny about that bonus track. I didn't want that song on the record at all. Mick wrote it, Sunset Superstar. He wrote that song. He wrote Disease, which is another Bastard Child on the album, and he wrote Sunset Superstar. Those are mixed songs, and I didn't think they fit the record. I mean, Disease is really more of a modern song compared to the rest of the songs. Sunset Superstar, I didn't get, did it anyway, and people love that song. And I'm like, wow, maybe I need to, rethink this. I'm just not used to singing something I didn't write.
Well, I got to sing on that one though, so that's what makes it good.
That's right. You got to sing the background chorus, Sunset Superstar.
I hope I got a credit in there for that.
It's actually some cool lyrics. I mean, the lyrics to Disease that Mick came up with are really some very really deep lyrics, pretty cool lyrics.
Sure.
I'm not sure exactly what he's talking about. I have my suspicions what he's talking about, but I'm not going to tell you.
Right. Well,
Mick, he's bummed. I just talked to him the other day, and he's just like, God damn it. He goes, now we finally got a big tour, new record come out. We busted our balls to make this record, and I just inked with Ted.
Right.
And I said, well, you have to do the honorable thing. Ted's counting on you, and it's not your fault that we didn't have a tour booked yet. So we did. We're played a couple shows with him last month, and he'll be back in September, and I'm just going to have to bring in some guys to back up John and I, and we're going to take over the helm and front the band. And the bottom line is everybody's going to hear the Dokken hits, and that's the bottom line.
Well, do you plan on adding any of the songs from the new disc on the tour?
Oh, absolutely. We're probably going to do Stand on the Outside, because that's a single. And I'd like to do, for a live show, I had it the other day what I wanted to do. I think This Fire would be a great song.
Yeah, that'd be a great song.
Yeah, This Fire's got that arena kind of riff, and it's up-tempo, and it rocks. I'm probably going to do This Fire and Stand on the Outside at least. The problem is we're not the headliner. We're a special guest, so we have a limited amount of time. And we have a good dilemma that a lot of bands don't have. A lot of bands had 1 hit, 2 hits, and that's it. We had 8. So it's like, what do you get rid of? Breaking the Chains, Into the Fire, In My Dreams, Just Got Lucky, Alone Again. What do we can? It's a hard call when every song on our set's a hit.
Right.
But now in the headlining shows we're doing in between Poison, we get to do a 2-hour show, which is awesome. So we get to play a lot more of the new stuff. We're going to do like 3 or 4.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, if you don't do a minimum of at least 3, you're making a big mistake.
Oh no, we're going to do Standing, Heart of Stone. Actually, we're doing 4. This Fire and Oasis.
Nice.
That'll round it off. 4 new songs off the new album, because it'll be nice for me as a singer to do something fresh.
Sure. Well, it's such good music, and it fits in with the catalog so well that, it'll go right in with all the hits.
Well, I think people are going to go, what song is that? That must have been on Tooth and Nail. It was on Back to the Attack. I'm like, no, I'm going to say it. No, it's off the new album. I think people will be really surprised.
Yeah, these were all bonus tracks you didn't get.
Yeah. Mick was shocked when we got all done. Mick's like, dude, it sounds like it's a time warp. You listen to the album, he goes, it sounds like 1985. And I said, yeah, that was pretty hard for me to do, Mick, to go back in time and try to get in that same spiritual mindset to come up with those melodies and choruses and the big harmonies. But we pulled it off. So I hope that it just sells, and I wish this album came out 1990.
Right.
But it didn't. So people don't understand about Dokken. They talk about the bigger hits, but they don't understand that a lot of the records we've done in the 90s are sold shitloads of copies.
Right.
Like you said, look at Dysfunctional, 600,000. If you had 600,000 now, you'd be at number one in the charts.
Right. And that's probably my favorite Dokken disc in the catalog.
Yeah, I love that record.
I do too. It's so dark
and got a lot
moody.
of Beatle influence,
Yeah.
So that wasn't a real straight-ahead Dokken album. It had a lot of Beatle influences in there.
Yeah.
And Zeppelin influences.
Of all the Dokken CDs in the catalog, that's the one I play the most personally.
Dysfunctional.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool. This is some really cool, great songs on that. We spent a long time on that too, but luckily I own my own recording studio, and Jeff and I basically wrote that album by ourselves.
Sure.
It took a year and a half. I always take forever on records because I get sidetracked. It's like, do I sing or do I pet the dog? Pet the dog.
It's procrastination.
Or Gene Simmons' Family Jewels is coming on. I got to watch that.
Yeah, it's called procrastination.
I'm a big procrastinator, and you can't be working, when Bret Michaels' Rock of Love is on. You got to stop for that. And I had to watch every freaking episode, so because my girlfriend's like, you got to watch this. I'm like, it's a train wreck. But I watched it, so it was interesting. VH1 called me, wanted me to do a reality show, and I said, no fucking way. I said, what do you want to film me? Sitting around the jacuzzi, talking on the phone, petting my dog? I mean, it's boring. I don't. And now I hear rumors Richie Sambora is going to do like a Rock of Love 3. Yeah,
exactly. How embarrassing is that for a high-profile band like Bon Jovi to have their guitarist do a sleaze TV show like that?
I don't get it. I mean, God bless Brett, for doing it and made him a reality TV star, and hopefully he made a shitload of money. And if I was Richie Sambora and I'd sold over 100 million records and living in a mansion with enough money to last through lifetime, I sure enough fuck wouldn't want to do a TV show like that.
I would agree.
Even his girlfriend's doing one now, the ex one. What was that chick's name?
Heather Locklear?
No, Denise Richards.
Oh, Denise Richards?
Yeah, now she's got a reality show.
Wow.
But then again, you got Gene Simmons, who's a billionaire.
Right.
And he's one of the most famous bands in the world, and he's doing a reality show. I don't really get it. I'm not that. I don't need it for my ego. I want people to know my private life, and I don't want people to know about what the hell I do every day. It's like, touring's touring, And when you get off the road, I'm a private person. I don't expect that Paul McCartney or Robert Plant would ever do something like that.
Right,
Not
absolutely.
that I'm in their category or league, but my mentality is like them, When I toured Robert Plant, he was just the most gracious guy, humble. You'd never realize he's the singer from Led Zeppelin. He was just a great guy and very private, and I think that's the way you should keep it. Keep your rock stardom away from your reality.
Right.
Well, it's an alter ego, man.
Well, when you decide to put your career to rest and enjoy the rest of your days, at least you can retire with dignity and your integrity intact.
Yeah, I don't want people to remember me. Go, oh, you're the guy that banged all those girls on TV. I don't want that to be my memory. You're tonguing all these hookers. I'm not down with that.
Yeah, I hear you.
I tongued enough hookers back in the day.
Well, Don,
I'm no angel. The 80s was pretty bad, I don't like to think about the 80s. The bummer is you run into those girls now, 20 years later.
Right.
They'll say, oh, it's so-and-so. I used to date you in 87. I go, oh, I remember her. And they come backstage, and they don't look the same.
Hey, Don, wasn't that one of them that just called?
I hope not. That shit sounded like she was high.
Nice.
Yeah, and I don't want to call her. I'm just going to call her, and I'll go up there, and I'll just take her out to dinner.
Nice.
Because I got nothing else to do.
Right.
And then I'll come back home, and I'll be locked out of the house.
Right, nice. Well, Don, not only do you have a new CD with Lightning Strikes Again, you got a new website. What do you think of the new website?
I like it. I think Chris is doing a great job, and the website is, it's hard. I can't. People, say, you never answer my emails. I emailed you, and I go, I just can't. I have to have somebody take care of it for me, and that's why Chris takes care of it, because it's overwhelming. I remember back in the 80s, before the internet, back in the 1800s, they used to send us bags of mail, those big U.S. postal things.
Sure.
And they go, here's 700 letters. And they dump them in the bus. And we'd sit there and go, holy shit, what are we supposed to do with this? And every single letter says, here's my address, please, write me. But we couldn't do it. It was impossible. It was absolutely impossible. And I heard that some bands did that, and I'm like, how? How can you be on a world tour and just sit around all day long writing hundreds and hundreds of letters? So we'd read them, and we'd go through all of them because we're waiting for those Polaroids to show. We'd always look at the thing and say, this one's got a Polaroid in it, And that was it. And we took the Polaroids, we'd stick them on the windows of the bus. We call it the wall of shame. There were some pretty graphic ones, and most of the girls were smart, and they cut their heads off, so.
Right. Well, Don, with the modern technology and the internet, you and I had talked about you doing maybe, a periodic podcast from the road. Is that still in the works? You think you might do that?
Yeah, actually, we're having a guy come out for a couple of weeks with a camera and just film every day-to-day life with Dokken. So I can take that and podcast it. I'm going to try to do at least a weekly update on the Poison Tour and see how things are doing and how things are going. And it's just hard for me all the time trying to carry the camera around, and I'm off camera. And we're all pretty busy doing radio and press, and we have pretty busy days. Even though we only play an hour a night, we're busy from the time we get to the show to the time we leave. But so I'm having a crew come out and try to film the whole tour, because this might be the last time we tour for a while. I mean, I'm not even sure Dokken will ever make another studio album, because who's going to buy it?
Right.
I can't go country. I won't. I just can't. I can't do that. My baby left me down in Texas. I can't sing like that. I don't get that whole thing, and I think it's great for John, who could cross all the formats with a country type of record, but I can't do that. I'm a rocker. I told John after the tour, I'd like to go in right away, and I want to write a metal album. I mean, a really heavy album. Kind of like Tool, a little bit of Chevelle, kind of Soundgarden. I don't know. I want to do something heavy. I want to do a record with no rules.
Right.
And people probably hate it, but I don't care. I need to do it. I just want to do it for shits and giggles.
Sure.
So that's our next record is going to be. I told John we did the Straight Ahead Dokken album. Now let's do something off the hook.
Right.
So that's our next project.
Excellent.
But let's just get to the summer first. I just want to survive it.
Well, you're sounding great, Don, and I think, the fans are going to be pleased. So go out in the stores and pick up the new Dokken on Tuesday, Lightning Strikes Again, or order it on the internet. And go out and see Dokken on tour with Poison this summer. All the tour dates are located over there at Dokken.net, which Chris updates weekly. So
yes.
That's and Dokken MySpace.
Dokken MySpace. What is that, Chris?
MySpace.com/Dokken.
Oh, excellent. All right. So a lot of ways to find out what's going on with our favorite band, and go out and see them, buy the record, and let's go gold with this thing.
Yeah, gold record would be an awesome addition to my other 8 bazillion gold and platinums on my wall. I want that one last one.
Right. All right, Don. Anything else you want to tell the fans?
Start sending money in, and as soon as we get $1 million in the bank, we'll do a Dokken reunion.
There you go. All right.
Send it to Dokken Reunion Tour Fund.
There you go.
Let's see, if 1 million people send $1, then there's my pay, and we'll go out and do it.
There you go. Go. All right,
Simple,
Don.
$1. Just $1.
$1. That's cheap.
$1.
Cheap price for admission.
$1, and we get to 1 million donations in the fund to pay for Don to come out there and deal with George. I'll be on the road.
All right, Don. Well, as you know, we always let the artist pick the closing tune here. So something off the new CD you particularly like and maybe have a story about?
This Fire.
All right.
I like that song because it's got a real straight ahead Dokken kind of riff, but the lyrics and the melody are very quirky.
Sure.
I wrote that song I was leaving for the Queensryche tour at 6 in the morning for the airport, and the song was done, and I couldn't come up with any lyrics. And about 2 o'clock in the morning, I said, the song's not going to make it in the record. And at 2:15, God showed up, and I started scribbling away furiously and sang the lyrics and wrote them. And I finished the song about 4:45 in the morning and packed and left. And that's how that song came about, literally in 2 hours in the middle of the night.
Excellent.
I like it.
All right, we'll go pick up the new CD Tuesday. Lightning Strikes Again. Dokken is back with a vengeance. Check him out at Dokken.net. And here it is. This is a song inspired by God himself. This is This Fire exclusively here
on your Classic Metal Show.
Thanks for checking out the best of the Classic Metal Show. You can tune into the Classic Metal Show live every Saturday night from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m.
It's the album that changed everything, Metallica's Black Album. In Cause and Effect, Metallica, author Chris Aiken takes you back to the lead-up, the release, and the shockwaves that followed. Relive the moment that divided fans, reshaped heavy metal, and turned commercial radio on its ear. With insider stories and personal memories from rock critic and radio personality Chris Aiken, this book is a backstage pass to one of rock's most iconic moments. Get your copy now at chrisaiken.net or on Amazon. Don't miss out on this epic journey through heavy metal history.